Hey guys, I've just finished watching the E3 press conference for EA, and just going to give you the quick rundown on what EA have shown us. So, first up, Battlefield 5 was what they showed us. Not a lot of news other than scenery destruction is back. And it's been improved as well. It's going to allow you to do things like jump and dive through the window. So if someone's hiding in a building, you can jump and dive through the window, turn and shoot them real quick. It's going to be launched in October. They're not going to have any loot boxes and no DLC whatsoever. So you buy the game and you'll get the game completely as it is. Any extra content that comes out for it will be included with the cost of buying the game, which is great news. Great news for Battlefield fans. Great news for people that don't like monetization of games after you bought it. On top of that, an easy guess, they've also announced Battlefield Royale, following obviously success of things like PUBG and Fortnite. EA, of course, wanted a piece of that action, so Battlefield Royale is going to come out. They haven't said whether or not it's going to come out at launch, but they have said it will include destruction, scenery destruction, it will include team play, and it will include vehicles. So it's going to be a bigger, badder version of PUBG and Fortnite combined. That's all they said about that, and the news for that will come out later this year. So FIFA19 was also announced, coming out September the 28th, and as predicted, it's going to be all about the Champions League. Champions League is going to be all over the game this year. There's a standalone Champions League mode. There's going to be Champions League is going to be in your career mode. So if you're managing a team, you can take them to win the Champions League. It's going to be in Alex Hunter's Journey Season 3. He'll be playing in the Champions League this year. And also in the Ultimate Team. I don't know quite how that's going to fit into Ultimate Team, but there will be a Champions League mode of sorts within Ultimate Team. They've also said that they've improved gameplay, but they didn't really go into any description about how they've improved gameplay. So hopefully they'll be talking that over the coming months about the new changes to the gameplay. They haven't mentioned any change of a match engine, so it looks like it's still based on the Frostbite match engine of the last couple of years. So what changes they've made, I'm not sure. I've put a couple of clips in here so you can see a bit. The ball still looks a bit sticky to players. So if you're chesting the ball and things like that, it almost looks like it's a bit on a string, as you can see here. But check down the description below. Hopefully I can find a link to the full trailer of FIFA 19. So that comes out September the 28th. Also, they have said that for people that are enjoying FIFA 18 or haven't played FIFA 18 yet, obviously there's a new World Cup update available to everybody. And that game in full is available for free for PS4 and Xbox One players as a free trial. What they mean by that is that you can play the game completely as much as you like, but it's for a limited time. So they haven't said when that ends. It could end this weekend, it could end next week, it could end the end of the World Cup. We're not sure, but it is available at the moment on either Xbox One or PlayStation 4. They didn't mention whether it's available on PC as well as a free trial, so if you play on the PC, do check it out and just see if it's there as well. The other thing that EA mentioned today was they're working on a streaming service. So it's going to be called Origin Access Premier. Okay, so for those that play on the PC at the moment, you might be aware of Origin Access, and for those that play on Xbox One, you might be aware of EA Access. So it's meant to be a combination of both of those things. It is a paid-for subscription service. It's only available on PC. It's not out yet. It's going to come out soon. They've said no news yet on when, but basically will include all games. You'll be the first to be able to play them. You'll be able to play as many of them as you like. It's all their old vault games, as they call them, as well as all the new games coming out. So Battlefield 5 will be on there, FIFA 19 will be on there, Madden, and NBA, all the games that come out will be on there. So that's good news for PC fans. But a reminder, people that own Xbox One, if you don't have EA Access yet, it's great value. It's £20 a year. I have it. You can see it on the screen behind me. It's quite blurry, but you can see it there. Basically, what EA Access allows you to have is vault game access. So that's games that have basically EA have seen, well, they're outside of their marketability. So on there, you've got things like the most recent ones are Unravel, Madden 18 is on there, last year's FIFA is on there, UFC, loads of games, all the games before that as well. You can download them, play them for free. Titanfall 2's on there. Loads of games are on there. And you also get free trials. So basically, FIFA19 comes out September the 28th. EA Access will give you 10 hours of the full game 6 days before the game comes out. So September 22nd, you can play the full game for up to 10 hours, save all your progress, and then transport it over to the new game when the new game comes out. So you get a head start on everybody with FIFA Ultimate Team or the Journey or whatever you like to play, career mode maybe. So, but EA Access Origin is a streaming service coming out some point this year. So if you watched my preview video, you know that I asked for a new Star Wars game, a non-Battlefront Star Wars game, and a non-film tie-in game. I don't want to play Star Wars The Last Jedi. I don't want to play the Han Solo game. What I do want to play is my own Star Wars story. And Respawn, they're the people behind Titanfall 1 and 2, basically teased a new game called, and just let me check my notes, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Now, the game takes place between Episode 3 and Episode 4, essentially when the Empire are hunting down all the Jedis. They haven't said anything more about it. It comes out next Christmas, okay? So, or for those in America, holidays 2019. So that's about the same time as the next Star Wars movie is going to be expected, the next one. So it ties in quite well with then, with the buzz that will create. They haven't said anything more about it, so we don't know yet if it's an RPG or a shooter. Hopefully it's an RPG, but Respawn are known for making shooting games, Titanfall 1 and 2. However, we've already got Battlefront as a shooting game, so hopefully it's an RPG, but we don't know anything more about that. So just keep your eyes out. Look for Respawn, follow them on Twitter, and then they'll be pushing out news as and when they see fit to tell you more about the game if you're interested in Star Wars. In further Star Wars news, there was some extra news about Battlefront 2. So first of all, they apologised completely for the whole loot box scenario last year, and said they've been working on new modes to make the game more enjoyable for players. So next week, they are going to be updating with a Han Solo mode. That's not necessarily you're playing as Han Solo, but it's taking place on the planet Kessel, and it's taking place it's within the Han Solo story. They're also adding some new features in the near future. So squad system is being added. They didn't say much more about that, but there's a squad system being added. It sounds to me a bit more like a battle royale type mode. There is going to be dogfighting mode, so basically getting more in your spaceships and doing dogfights in the air. And also, interestingly, a sandbox mode. They call it a sandbox mode, but it's basically a strategy action zone, control the action zones. It sounds very similar to the original Battlefront games, the ones on the original Xbox and PlayStation 2, if I remember correctly. So that could be really interesting. And they're also going to add in, at some point, Clone Wars. So that's going to be droids and people from basically Episode 2. General Grievous will be in it. Count Dooku as a villain will also be in it. Obi-Wan and Hayden Christensen's Anakin will also be in it. So if you're a fan of the prequels, Star Wars Battlefront 2 will have you covered. Then EA went on to talk about a couple of indie games. So Unravel 2 is out today. You can buy Unravel 2 today. Now, I played the first Unravel. It's a very nicely made puzzle game about a little figure made out of yarn. Now, the new one is essentially a 2-player game. You can play it by yourself and your gameplay will be exactly the same, but you have 2 little figures of yarn helping themselves or helping each other get through the game. And at any point, a friend can jump in and join in co-op. They didn't say whether it was just couch co-op or couch co-op and online or just online over, but it is 2-player. It's best enjoyed with a friend. Unravel 2 looks really good. The other game that was shown was Sea of Solitude. I'll show a little bit of it now. As you can see, it's a bit of a game that looks a little bit like Rhyme, like Witness. It's about loneliness and about how that creates monsters within people. She was very deep about the story, but didn't really say about the gameplay. These are little bits, as you can see from it. It looks like it could be a very beautiful game, however. So fingers crossed on more news for that one over the next couple of months. Just briefly, NBA Live 19 has come out September 7th, and they showed off a new trailer for Madden. So if I can find the trailer, I'll stick it in the description below. And they also announced a new Command & Conquer game. This game is a mobile game. It's a tactical RTS multiplayer, essentially. You play against one other person. You've got to control the zones. If you control the zones, you launch a nuke. The nuke has to hit their base twice for you to win the battle. It looks quite interesting. You can pre-register for it on iPhone and on Android. And they've said that for Android phone users, you can play the pre-alpha at some point today. So that gets released some point today, the pre-alpha. They haven't said how long for or what you get to play on it, but that's there, and then the game comes out later this year. And the last game that EA talked about, which was the game that I was looking forward to the most, is Anthem. Now, Anthem is being produced by BioWare. They're the people behind Mass Effect games and Dragon Age games. I saw Anthem in, I think it was at E3 last year, at Microsoft E3. It looks absolutely incredible. It's similar in shapes to Destiny. It's basically a shared world game, the way it's called it. Shared world solo story. Now, essentially what that means is when you go out and do your missions, that can be done co-op. You can do it in a squad. You can do it by yourself. If you do it by yourself, you're not going to miss out on much. It's just probably a little bit harder. They said only a little bit harder, so I imagine that they do scale the difficulty a bit depending on whether you've got people in your team or not. But when you finish a mission and you go back to your base, you do that by yourself. That means all the story that takes place, all the looting and things like that are all done essentially offline. They're done for you, individually to you, which is completely in contrast to Destiny, where Destiny you go back to the base and there's another 100 people there doing the same things that you, going to the same places, and it can kind of take you out of the story a little bit. So the idea of this is that it puts you firmly in the story and you do that part at your own pace. And then when you go back out onto the mission, you decide whether or not to bring friends with you or not. You can choose, again, unlike Destiny, they've got different character classes. Essentially, these are the different exosuits. There is a Ranger, there's a Colossus, an Interceptor, and a Storm type. Unlike Destiny, you don't have to stick with these classes. These are suits that you can get in and out of essentially any time you're at your base. So one mission you can do as a Colossus. The next mission you can team up with a mate who's already in a Colossus suit and you go in the Ranger. They haven't gone too much into detail about the differences between the suits. What they have said is that the Ranger is a bit more of a kind of like an assault type suit, a general purpose combat suit, so to speak. The Colossus is a tank. It's a big old suit. It's got a shield. It's got heavy weaponry. They didn't talk about the other two, but by the looks of it on the trailers, you can see as we're going. The Storm suit is has a bit more of like a telekinesis part to it. There's a bit of teleporting. And the Interceptor, I haven't seen too much of that, but imagine that there will be some kind of support mechanisms. What you can see is that each suit has 2 weapons, primary and secondary, and 3 abilities. So I imagine these abilities you can chop and change to customize as per the suit's requirements. So I imagine the Interceptor probably has some support type mechanisms like heal or shield or something like that. The most interesting part about it is that the world will change constantly. So essentially the world is delivered on the server. The world will have dramatic weather effects, monsters that drop in, huge deformed monsters that drop in. There'll be cataclysmic events that will change the world as you know it. And these will happen whether you're playing or not. So if you start a mission, for example, and you decide, actually, I'm not going to play it now, and you don't play it for 2 months, and you come back into it, things will have changed. The world will look a little bit different for you than it did before. And these changes happen to everybody at the same time. As they said, it's a shared world. So if you're playing one mission and your friend is playing a different mission, completely like separate to each other, you'll experience the same weather effects. If there's a monster that drops into the world, you can both find that monster together and go and shoot it up, as well as other people that might be in the vicinity. So that sounds really, really interesting. There is customization options as well, so you can change how your suit looks from the geometry of it. So I imagine that means pulling the suit in different ways to make different humps appear and things like that. You can also do paint jobs on it. There will be some monetization as you would expect, but there's going to be no pay for power. Essentially what that means is that it's going to be all cosmetic. So you can buy different paint jobs, different vinyls and stuff for your suits, but you can't buy different weaponry. You can buy different looking weapons, but not different power weapons, which means that it's all based on how good you are at the game and your progress through the story. There's also going to be absolutely no loot boxes whatsoever, so you always know what you're paying for. If you want a certain upgrade for your suit in terms of the looks, you know where it is and you know how much it's going to cost you. So that is, I mean, that all sounds really good. On top of that, they expect to be releasing story updates for it for free over the next few years. Essentially, when the game comes out, it's in its complete entirety, but over the next few years, they're going to continue to support the game. They'll be dropping in new missions, new weather events, new world events, and things like that. And the best thing about it is it's not that far off. It comes out on February the 22nd, 2019 for PC, for Xbox One, and for PlayStation 4, all at the same time. So that's going to be really good. It looks amazing. If you haven't done already, make sure you check out the trailer for it. So that's EA's E3 press conference done. Now, from my point of view, there was nothing really, anything there that surprised me. The surprise was obviously the Star Wars game by Respawn, but if you watched my preview, you knew that I was expecting some kind of Star Wars game to be released. But other than that, we expect to see some Anthem. We expect to see all of their sports titles, NBA Live, Madden, and FIFA, of course. Again, if you're a Battlefront 2 fan, maybe that's some surprise with the new modes being added. That's quite decent. Unravel 2 being released today is quite cool, and Command & Conquer coming out as a mobile game. That's probably where I'm a bit torn on it. I do like old Command & Conquer games. I'm not sure if I'd play it a lot on my mobile. I have pre-registered for it, and hopefully I'll get the alpha. If I do, I'll tell you guys what I think of it when I've had a go. But that's been EA. If you've liked my wrap up of the E3 conferences, make sure you subscribe, as there'll be 4 more coming for you over the next few days. We're going to have Xbox, we're going to be having Nintendo, Sony, and Bethesda's too. But thanks guys for watching, and I will catch you all in a bit. Bye bye.